Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, and today we are going to discuss the mind map for polity from the book M. Lakshmikant. And the first lesson, that is the historical background. The topic which we are going to cover includes the Government of India Act 1919, Government of India Act 1935 and Indian Independence Act 1947. I have already uploaded a video about the various act which is discussed in this lesson, that is a historical background. Before starting the discussion, there are a few announcements that in this lecture series of a mind map, we are going to cover the entire Lakshmikant, okay, entire Lakshmikant of a polity in the form of a mind map, so that you can revise it very quickly just the day before the exam, and it will be very beneficial for you. So if you are new in our channel, then please do like, comment and subscribe. And let's start with our today's discussion from the first topic, that is Government of India Act 1919. So the Government of India Act 1919 states that on August 20, 1917, the British government for the first time they declared that its objective was that gradually introduction of a responsible government in India, and this act is also known as the Montesquieu-Chelmsford Reform. The Montesquieu was a secretary of the state of India, and the Lord Chelmsford was a viceroy of India. As you know that various questions from this topic are being asked in the UPSC exam in many times. So this topic is so important, that is Chelmsford Montagu-Chelmsford Reform, or we can state that Government of India Act 1919. Now, regarding what were the key sorry, just a minute. What are the key features of this act? The key features of this act include that it relaxed the central control over the provinces, and it established the form of a diarchy. And what do you mean by the diarchy? Diarchy means it divide the provisional subjects into the two part, that is the transferred subject and the reserved subject. The transfer subject was under the administration of a governor with the aid of a ministers, okay, and they were responsible to the legislative council. And the reserve subject was administered by the governor and the executive council without being responsible to the legislative council, okay. This state that there were very various uncertainty because both were not accountable, and they were both divided subject for the provisional, okay, provinces, and thus it created very chaos during that time. And along with this, the Government of India Act introduced the bicameralism and the direct election system, that is the upper house, that is the Council of State, and the lower house, Legislative Assembly. Along with this, in the executive council, the 3 of a 6 member should be the Indians, okay, and it required that the 3 of a 6 members should be the Indians, and it extend the principle of a communal representation. As you know that the communal representation was introduced in year 1909, that is by the Indian Council Act of 1909. And this act initially was extended or initially started to give a communal representation for the Muslim, and by the Government of India Act 1919 it was extended for the other communities, okay, such as the Sikh, Indian Christian, Anglo Indian, and the European. And along with this, it extended, or it we can say that it limited or guaranteed the franchisee to the limited number of a people on the basis of a property tax and the education. And it established a new office for the High Commissioner for India in London, and also provide for the establishment of a public service commission. And according to this act, the provisional budget was separated from the central budget, and it established or it provide for the appointment of a statutory commission, okay. Statutory commission was appointed to inquiry into and the report on its working after the 10 year of its coming into the force, okay, after the 10 year of the act coming into the force. And regarding this, a statutory commission was set up to inquiry and report its working. And in this way, we conclude the Government of India Act 1990, and the next one is the Government of India Act 1935. So, Government of India Act 1935 is considered to be the second milestone which established a complete responsible government in India, and it was the lengthiest and the detailed structure which include a 321 section and a 10 schedule. Okay, 321 section and a 10 schedule. So it was considered to be the one of the most lengthiest and the detailed document, okay, during that time. And according to this act, it established the All India Federation. Okay, just a minute, I will show you very carefully. It established All India Federation, okay, and it consists of provinces and the princely state as a unit. All India Federation जो था वो consist करता था provinces and the princely state as a unit. And according to this act, it divide the power of a central and the unit in the three lists. Okay, central and unit in the three lists, that is the federal list including 59 items, provisional list 54 items, and concurrent list 36 items. And along with this, it abolished the system of a diarchy. Okay, diarchy system was abolished and introduced a provisional autonomy. That is, provisional autonomy means the governor was required to act with the advice of a ministers. Okay, he can act with the advice of the minister. And the concept of a bicameralism was extended to the 6 out of 11 provinces. Along with this, it also extend the communal representation for the other communities such as depressed class, women's, and labor. And Government of India Act 1935 abolished the Council of India. Okay, it is abolished the Council of India, and it extended the franchisee, that is about 10% of our total population got a right of voting. Okay, only 10% of our population got a right of voting. And it established a Reserve Bank of India. Okay, Reserve Bank of India was established to control the currency and the credit of the country. And the federal, or we can say the provisional, and joint public commission was also established according to this act. And it also formed or provide for the establishment of a federal court, and it was set up in the year 1937. Okay, the federal court was set up in the year 1937. And next is regarding our last act, that is Indian Independence Act 1947. So what are the key features that we are going to look now? So according to this act, it ended the British rule in India and declared India as an independent and a sovereign nation, and state India independence on 15th of August 1947. Along with this, it provide for the partition of India. Okay, the partition of India in the two independent dominion, that is the Pakistan and the India, two independent dominion. And at that time, it empowered that a constitution assembly. Okay, CA means here the constitution assembly. The constitution assembly were empowered to have that the two dominion, okay, the two dominion, that is Pakistan and India, to frame their and adopt their own constitution with respect to their nation. Okay, they get a power to frame their own constitution according to their nation. Along with this, the Indian Independence Act discontinued the appointment of a civil services and the reservation of a post by the Secretary of a State of India. Okay, it discontinued the civil services appointment and the reservation for the post of a Secretary State of India. And along with this, it also abolished the office of a Viceroy and the Secretary of State. And by this act, the princely state get a freedom to choose, or they can join either the India, Pakistan, or they can remain the independent. Okay, they can also remain independence. And along with this, the British at that time, okay, that time, the British monarchs were deprived, or we can say that they do not have a veto power on any of the bill. Okay, they do not have any power for the bill. And in this way, we conclude the Indian Independence Act 1947. And please do like, comment, subscribe, and follow to our channel. Turn on the bell icon for the new update and notification. Stay connected. Have a nice day. Thank you.